Lao Ying is the leader of a small gang that crossed a powerful mobster named Dei 2 years ago, and then went into hiding in rural China. But time passes, money has a way of running out, and Lao Ying decides it's time to try and mend things with Dei. They strike a deal. Return what was stolen, and Dei will let them walk away peacefully. But can Dei really be trusted? To play it safe, the handoff is arranged through Lao Xiang, the gang's mentally disabled member. However, during the exchange, Lao Xiang suddenly rebels, bolts from his accomplices, and takes off with a suitcase full of cash. There was a time when ironic Easterns, adventure films straddling the line between action movies and black comedies, were hugely popular in Chinese cinema. These films often featured eccentric, semi-criminal characters settling scores in the backwaters of rural China. When it comes to Salt Lake Project, the first thing that comes to mind is Ning Hao's No Man's Land, in which a big city lawyer, stranded in the provinces, manages to cross paths with a dozen hardened criminals who don't forgive mistakes. Back in its day, No Man's Land faced pushback from Chinese censors, who subjected it to years of revisions. But it was worth it. Ning Hao fought to preserve the film's core message of redemption, and when it finally released in 2013, it earned $40 million at the Chinese box office, landing it in the year's top 20 highest-grossing films. At first glance, Salt Lake Project seems cut from the same cloth, but alas, that impression is deceiving, and the results speak for themselves. Barely anyone showed up to see it in theaters. The film's promotional materials heavily emphasize how long the writer spent working on the script. Development began back in 2016, and the screenplay went through 14 drafts over 3 years, with 20 writers contributing. Why this is framed as a point of pride is unclear. Usually that many drafts and writers means either the creators are hacks, or the producers have no idea what they want. In this case, it's probably the latter, because Salt Lake Project starts as a black comedy, morphs into a crime thriller, and ends as a gangster melodrama, with each of these 3 acts raising major questions about structure, logic, genre, and pacing. The film's strongest section is the first third, where the writers simply sketch out vignettes of these eccentric criminals' lives. A hapless courier named Lu Lei shows up to meet Lao Xiang, agreeing to deliver him to his employer while swindling money out of his new client at every turn. Along the way, they run into extortionists blocking the road and a biker gang, all while being relentlessly pursued by Lao Ying and his crew. These scenes are delivered with sharp, slightly absurd humor and clever little details. Plus, the film unfolds in stunning locations and is decently acted, so the opening promises a thrilling ride. But from there, Salt Lake Project quickly falls apart. We're gradually fed details about who Lao Xiang really is and why he needs Dai. And while this gives the story some closure and a semblance of meaning, it also opens a portal to hell full of plot holes and abandoned threads. By the finale, where not just logic and causality, but physics itself go out the window, it feels like nothing short of a slap in the face. Once again, the old saying about too many cooks spoil the broth proves prophetic, and 20 screenwriters are definitely too many.